I just want to welcome you to today's Microdesk webinar series. Again, my name is Laura Guzman. I'm the Vice President of Marketing here at Microdesk, and I want to welcome you to today's session on Vaulting Forward, the Future of Collaboration with Autodesk Vault. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, Microdesk is an Autodesk Gold, Oracle, and Google partner. We provide technology training and consulting solutions for the AEC industry. We have 12 offices located throughout the East and West Coast and a staff of over 90 consulting and technical specialists. So over the next hour, we're going to take a look at Autodesk Vault, a data management solution that helps design and construction work groups better organize, manage, and track data creation, simulation, and documentation processes. And presenting today's session, we have with us Microdesk Solutions Specialist, Jeremy Burt. Jeremy is a civil engineer by trade with over 12 years of experience in the field. He has both private sector and government project experience. He specializes in assisting design organizations with implementing building information modeling and has expert knowledge of BIM technologies such as Civil 3D, Map 3D, AutoCAD, and the tool we'll be discussing today, Autodesk Vault. So just a few logistics before we begin. In order to minimize any background distractions, you are all on mute for the duration of the session. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please do feel free to type them into that questions area at the bottom of the webinar tool. It should be to the right of your screen. And Jeremy will address as many as he can at the end of the presentation. If we do run out of time, we will provide you with our contact information so you can follow up with us, and we'll be sure to take those offline. So with that, at this point, I would like to turn it over to Jeremy. Jeremy.
Thank you, Laura. All right, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Again, we're going to be talking about Vault collaboration this afternoon. Okay, so just want to move through a couple of slides here, set the stage. Okay, first we're going to talk about Vault and the security that Vault introduces into a workflow. So there is a check-in and check-out process that allows for, again, better security throughout the process of a project. Okay. The nice thing about Vault is that it centralizes your data. So it's a full data management software. Okay, so it also integrates into Microsoft Office products. So it's good for not only Autodesk products, but as well for all of your Office documents. It's really a whole organization solution. Okay. Now, another thing that has been introduced in Vault Collaboration AEC is the ability to track milestones, so to move through the typical process of a project and actually capture particular milestones. So your 30%, 60%, 90% submittals can all be tracked through Vault. Now, the other ability of Vault is, with Vault Collaboration, is you are able to work across a very large organization. So you're able to replicate information across servers that could be housed in various offices around the country or even across the world. Now, the other thing that Vault introduces is, again, it introduces data management, but it also introduces the project management and allows for better management of data that is used in a particular application. So, for instance, in Civil 3D, you can manage all of the data that you are inputting into your drawings, whether it be surfaces, alignments, profiles, those types of things, and really streamlines the whole, again, the whole project life cycle. Okay. It also has some batch plotting capabilities, reporting tools, and that type of thing. Because it is a database, you're able to query the database and gather information about a project. Okay, the other nice thing is that it does have some integration as far as Oracle, SharePoint. There's direct integration where Vault can share information out to, for instance, Microsoft SharePoint. So you can still use those products and gather all your information into them. Okay. With that, I'm going to move into the actual products, talk about those a little bit. Okay, so first thing actually we're going to talk about today is there's a few components of Vault. The first component would be the ADMS console, and this is the administrative level application that allows you to manage the Vault from an administrative aspect. So I can do things like back up and restore my Vault and several administrative tasks in there. I can bring in users and set their permissions and so forth. Okay, so that's just the, that's not really the interface for Vault. It's just, again, the admin application. Okay, the next part of Vault collaboration would be the actual client application that gets installed onto each client machine. So this gets installed locally, and this allows, it's kind of like Windows Explorer, but it actually allows for better interface with your Autodesk projects. Okay, so it'll give you additional information that Windows Explorer would not give you. And as we actually get a little further in, you'll be able to see that. Another piece to Autodesk Vault collaboration is Buzzsaw. So when you purchase Autodesk Vault collaboration, you will get also Buzzsaw. You will get 10 gigs worth of storage, and this really allows you, Buzzsaw's been around for a long time, but they have built in the integration of Buzzsaw into Vault. So I can actually use this to collaborate with external clients. So I can upload information into Vault and then have the ability for those external clients to grab that information, whether it be a reviewing agency or a contractor. You need to upload plans, and they need to, they can download them from Buzzsaw. So that comes with the product. Okay. Now, what I'm going to be talking about today is we're going to look at how it interfaces with Revit. Okay. So when we look at Revit, okay, so I have a model here, a Revit project file. Okay, this project file resides on my local machine, but I also have the ability to have this. Obviously, this would be synced back to my central file. I also have the ability to keep a copy of the central file in the Vault, and so I'm able to, by coming into the options here, I'm actually able to synchronize my central file with the copy in the Vault, so I can house that in the Vault. Okay. I also have the ability within Revit to load families, so I could centralize the storage of my Revit families within Vault. Okay, so if I wanted to, for instance, load a family into Revit, I could simply do that. Browse. This is actually browsing into the Vault now. And I'm going to actually import this table into Revit. And so once I go ahead and import that, I will actually have that in my project. And that, again, that was stored within the Vault, centralizing that library within the Vault. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a good preview of that. I would actually have to come over into the Vault application, and I would have to browse to it to be able to see exactly what that was. Okay, and there's my table for my family. All right. Switching back over to Revit, another nice thing, this is available on subscription. I can also add sheets. Okay, so this is an additional plugin that I can install into Revit. And so what I can do is actually go ahead and create all of my sheets and publish those out into Vault. Okay, so as you see here, I have actually gone ahead and published those sheets out into Vault. Okay. Oh, we're still generating, so I guess I am a little bit ahead of the program. There's my sheets, okay? I have the ability to preview those in here and also batch plot those. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch over into Civil 3D. And the workflows between Revit and Civil 3D and AutoCAD are vastly different. So I have, because the disciplines, they are different disciplines, the workflows are vastly different, and so the integration into the products is going to be different as well. And so I will get into the whole workflow within the within Civil 3D as well. Okay. Now within Civil 3D, you can see I also have my ribbon for Vault. Okay, and the big thing within Civil 3D is I have a project integration, which will show here in my prospector in my tool space. And this actually allows me to work on a Civil 3D project seamlessly. So I can do all of my Vault functions right from my browser here in the prospector. Okay, I'm just going to log out, and I'm just going to make sure that I am logged in correctly. Okay, I'm logged in. For today's illustration, we're going to be actually looking at 3 different personas. So I'm going to be illustrating, a little mock project so you can see kind of how the functionality works with Civil 3D. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my local copy of a points drawing. Okay. And so I'm logged in as Sam the Surveyor. So we're starting from survey data, and so Sam the Surveyor wants to go ahead and import some points, and then he's going to be able to share those points out and create a surface, and then it go through the design process. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and insert some points. Okay. Now once I insert those points, what I can do is I can add these points to the project. Now, if any of you are using data shortcuts, you would know that there isn't currently a way to manage points with data shortcuts. However, I have that capability to manage points within the Vault environment. So when I add those points to the project, I can actually check them in and also check them in with the ability to protect them so that those survey points are preserved within this drawing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and check those in, and those points will be protected. And you'll notice here in my prospector that I actually have all of my points are locked, okay, within the vault. So again, it preserves that survey data, which is great. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check in this drawing, and the checking in process is me actually taking the drawing that resides on my local machine and checking it into the vault, so it's centralized in the vault. Okay. So I have the ability to also, as in the check-in process, I can create a DWF so that when it goes to be reviewed, that DWF would already be generated. For points, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and check that drawing in. Okay. Now what I need to do is I need to take another drawing, and I want to take those project points and I want to create a surface. So again, I have the ability now to take my project points out of my project and actually share them across the entire project. So I'm able to reference those same points in multiple drawings. Okay. So then what I can do once I add those points to the project, I can create a surface from those points. Okay. Now once I create that surface, I can go ahead and check that in. Now the next step to this for today's presentation, again, we're going to have the next person that I'm going to show here would be Ed the engineer. And Ed the engineer wants to take this surface after Sam the surveyor has worked on it and start to build proposed grading and proposed site features. Okay, but he's not going to have the ability to do that until it's gone through the appropriate steps within Vault. Okay, so what's going to happen is Sam is going to check this in. Okay, and you can go ahead and check this drawing in. I have to check the data in because I still want to be able to take this surface and then be able to reference this in other drawings as well from the Vault. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and check that surface in. All right. Now switching over back into the Vault client, you will see that underneath my Project Explorer, I have my drawings collecting here in Vault Explorer. And notice in the application, what we'll do is we'll actually log out as Sam the surveyor. We'll log in as Ed the engineer. Okay. And we'll look at the project. Now, this is the same information in this project. However, Ed the engineer cannot see the points drawing or the surface drawing because based on permissions, he doesn't have the rights to access those files because they have not been submitted or approved. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our topo drawing, okay? And this topo drawing, again, with revisions and life cycle states, will control who has access to what. Okay? So what I can do is if this surface, Sam the surveyor is still logged in on the client machine or on the client application, what he can do is he can go ahead and he could submit this surface for review. Okay, so now that surface gets submitted for review and its state changes appropriately. Sam the surveyor is going to log out, and Mike the manager is going to actually log in. Now when Mike the manager logs in, he's going to actually go ahead and review that surface and then approve it so that Ed the engineer can then go ahead forward with the design. Okay? So he can do a couple of things. If he knows where the drawing is at, he can actually browse right to it. If there's been multiple things that have been submitted for review, Mike the manager can actually do a query, and he can do a query on the file and be able to get information. So we have a file that was submitted for review. So he can do that query, and here he has that information. Okay, so we're going to go over here to the topo drawing, and we're going to change this state from a review to approved. Okay, so now as you see, the life cycle state and the revision has changed. It has changed from conceptual to 30% approval. Okay, so we can step this through all the life cycles of the project and through, from conceptual to, archived, and we can, and then at the end of the project we can archive our drawings. All right. So switching back over to Civil 3D, if I refresh my project, I should get my drawing. Okay. Let me log out as Ed the engineer and log back in. And there is my topo surface now. Okay. So I'm able to open that up and actually start my proposed grading. All right. I'm also able to, with Vault, I'm actually able to, the Buzzsaw integration, I had mentioned Buzzsaw, there's actually integrated into Vault where I'm actually able to share out to Buzzsaw. So I can share this surface out to Buzzsaw. And what that does is that goes into a job queue, and every 15 minutes or so, that gets synchronized with Buzzsaw. And that will get populated in my Buzzsaw account so that I could then share that information externally. Okay. That would conclude the presentation for today. So if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. And thanks everyone for attending today's webinar. We hope you found this useful and informational. So we just want to open it up for a second here. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and type them into that question toolbar at the right of the screen. We'll take care of them. Let's give it a second to see if we have any that come in. Jeremy, I do have one to start. Can you tell us a little bit about how do folders get populated in Vault?
Yeah, good question. So in Vault, we actually have, we can actually push out standardization in the form of how, so in Windows Explorer, you typically may have a folder structure that your organization wants to adhere to. And when we go ahead and start an actual project, we're able to start with a project folder structure for our organization so that when we start that project, every project will have the same folder structure to begin with. And we can do that with a configuration file through Vault.
Great. All right, if there are any other questions, again, feel free to type them into that toolbar there. And Jeremy, I know you touched on it a little bit, but another question here about this is included when people have subscription, is that right? Or how can people get a hold of Vault?
Well, so Vault Collaboration is actually a separate application. Okay, it is an additional purchase. So it's not a free tool. It actually used to be free, but because they have actually enhanced the product to the what you see today, Vault has been around for a few years now, and it's always been just a data management application. Now they've actually introduced the project management into it. So you have both data management and project management. So again, it's a much more enhanced product, and you can reach out to your account executive to talk about how you can get that.
Great, thank you. All right, well, it doesn't look like we have any other questions coming in. So I did just want to close with providing everyone with a little bit more information about where you can learn more if you do have questions at a later point. So Microdesk does offer a wide variety of training on the entire Autodesk suite of products, as well as consulting services to assist with integrating BIM solutions like Vault in your workflows. So you can visit our website or contact us at 800-336-3375 if you would like some more information. We can also be reached at that email address featured on the screen and learn more about our training classes at that URL.